Welcome, my darling Fahana Cannon. She is a social media expert in branding. Also, she's a coach. And I connected with Fahana when we did a recent IGTV interview. And you were just so knowledgeable and such an expert in your field that I had to simply collaborate with you and have your expertise on our platform for all of our self-made girl bosses out there. I am going to hand it over to you, darling, so that you can introduce yourself and kickstart what's going to be a phenomenal masterclass in social media and branding.
Thank you so much for having me on. Hey everyone, my name is Fernanda and I'm a global social media and brand expert and the founder of iMedia Exposure. And I help brands attract and convert their perfect customer online. I really love partnering with different women and different people that are just really passionate about what they do. And so I'm super excited to be a part of the Self-Made Girl Boss family. I love being on the live with you and then being able to share with everyone today. I'm super excited about that. So I started my business about 10 years ago, and the reason why I really started focusing on digital marketing is because I kind of came into the world in fashion merchandising, and I was in the fashion industry, and then I had gone into event marketing. And what I was noticing back then, 10 years ago, is that, or even a little bit longer now, that people were actually spending a ton of money and doing all of this really cool marketing, but they weren't really expanding the reach beforehand or expanding the reach after. And social media allows you to do that. It really gives you the opportunity to find the exact right perfect people that you want to connect with and then build their relationships, cultivate the relationships. And so that's super important with any digital marketing plan, and it's really easy to do that on digital marketing, unlike before when it was like, oh, we're doing a TV ad, and obviously that's just one way, or a billboard or a magazine or even the radio, where it's all just very one way. Where social media, we get to like interact and engage and find out what people really want and how they really feel and think. So I've been speaking on stages for about 8 years now. And when I was first asked to do this, I was like, absolutely not. I don't want to get in front of people and, everyone's going to be staring at me. I'm going to be so uncomfortable. And then my mentor goes to me, he goes, why do you do what you do? And I said, I love helping people grow their business and expand their reach and really achieve their dreams. And he goes, so you can do that at a faster rate for more people if you get in front of a room of 100 people. And I'm like, okay, well, you have a point. So, okay, I will do this. I know I'm going to be scared, but it's fine. I'm just going to do it, and we're going to get over that. And I actually really love doing it now. It's so much fun. I consider myself like I'm a rapper when it comes to marketing. I can literally meet anybody at any event. They can tell me what their business is, and I can be like, okay, this and this, and give them like 3 tips like on how to really improve their business in a matter of seconds by just hearing a couple of things about them, and what they're trying to achieve. So I absolutely love it now, and it's so much fun, whereas before I was absolutely mortified.
I was going to say, because, I took a public speaking course because I literally couldn't bear the thought of me being on stage in front of hundreds of people and them, looking at me. And what if I went wrong? What if I said something silly? What if people thought that, I didn't know what I was talking about? And all of these crazy ideas were going through my head. And what I love about you is that you really just went for it. You had fears, I can imagine, 8 years ago, and you probably, shared similarities with regards to, anxiety and various, nervous situations we can put ourselves in our own heads. But you just took the jump, and you did it. And what I find remarkable is that you're now saying, well, I really love doing it. Like, for me, it's such a pleasure to be able to get onto stage and to, you know, speak to, you know, lots of people. And I know this masterclass isn't about public speaking, but can you just share a couple of points before, you know, we get onto social media, about any kind of techniques you have to overcome fears when you get on stage?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things that I found work for myself. So whenever I get on stage, I always go and have conversations with people that are in the room prior. So if we're at an event, I'll make sure to have these conversations so that when you look around, you want to make eye contact to specific people. So you look at them and there's already a level of relatedness because you had a conversation with them prior. And then when I'm giving examples, so I will say, okay, this is a social media strategy one. And within this one strategy, if you are a yoga studio, and I'll look at the woman that told me that she owns a yoga studio, or I will look at the guy that told me he was in real estate. And so I'll give those specific people examples in their specific field. And so one, there's relatedness, so I'm comfortable looking at them because we already chatted. And then two, they're engaged and super interested and they feel good because I remembered them, I'm helping them specifically, and so like their energy of like being like, oh, she remembers, she cares, that I think plays off of it. And then also this is another one, and I share this a lot, with sharing your gifts with the world, with giving education or providing people with something, your contribution to the world. I have a lot of clients that are older and they didn't grow up sharing every 5 seconds of their life on social media. And they feel uncomfortable. There's all these insecurities of, you know, not that I don't know what I'm saying, but they have these insecurities around what will people think? And am I bragging? Or am I being annoying? Or am I being too much? All of these things. And I have some of those things too when it comes to sharing in general. But then when I look at it as I'm a contribution to the world and I'm helping somebody, whether it be get over their fear, go after their dream, or just giving them like a nugget of knowledge that they can use to get closer to where they want to be in life. And so I think when you look at it as I'm being a contribution in the world and I'm helping others, and when you get on that stage, it's not about you anymore. It's about how you can serve. Or when you share something on social media, it's not about you anymore. And so when you shift that like weight on you, it's like, okay, well, I have to do this because I'm helping other people. It makes it easier.
I think what you have just said is completely remarkable and so very wise. And thank you so much for those cheeky bonus tips there on public speaking. So let's get on with the masterclass. So the content summary as to what we will be covering today by yourself is digital marketing plan. It's all about the narrative, know your tribe, quality, consistent content, and sales and marketing funnel, right? So you will be going through each one of those and elaborating and explaining to us. Now, I love this quote that you put here. A brand is the set of expectations, memories, stories, and relationships that taken together account for a consumer's decision to choose one product or service over another.
So there's so many brands out there. There's so many people doing the same thing. And so when you really create an experience, that's when people want to do business with you. You know, people have a set of expectations. Like, for example, Apple. We all know what Apple does, and we have like a certain expectation of Apple. And so we really want to share with the world who we are, but you need to have a plan behind it. You want to make sure you're organized and you have your goals pinpointed out. You do your research, you have your strategy, you delegate, and you get people to help you that are experts in that space. There's parts of digital marketing that I just don't really enjoy. Like, I don't enjoy doing tags on the website and doing the SEO part. I don't mind the SEO writing of blogs, but I don't want to go and meta tag things. It's just not fun for me.
Right, but so for all the viewers out there that don't really understand, what digital marketing is, and they hear it, it gets chucked about, and what does digital marketing planning actually mean? I put some points together just to help all the viewers understand what it actually means before we start elaborating on how to do it. And it really is, like with business, like with everything in your life, it's about structure, and it's about understanding where you're going to go. So for example, short, medium, long-term business goals. What are they? Do you know? Have you thought about it? Have you written it down? Have you crunched it out? Have you done your mapping? Then there's the strategies to achieve those goals at that digital level, right? And the channels that we choose to use, like for example, with Self-Made Girl Boss, Hannah, I'm a massive Instagram girl, and Instagram for me has been the platform that I find I have the most audience, right? So I do play on Instagram a lot, but it's not to say that that's the only platform I use. I have YouTube, podcast, Twitter, Facebook page, Facebook group, because I believe it's important to be able to utilize, all the various, platforms that there are out there. And one of the examples I always use, which I find hilarious but so true, is have you ever walked down, the street and passed on your right a Starbucks, and then literally you're just walking 2 minutes down the road, and then on the left-hand side of the road there's another Starbucks, right? And you think to yourself, how is it possible that there's two Starbucks both on the same road? And I guess what they're doing is really intelligent, because what they're doing is actually grabbing the footfall and the traffic that is happening on one side of the road and on the other side of the road. And I genuinely believe that that's very much like social media. So also, what are your actions and development plans for your business? Investment, budgeting, timing, and road mapping. Talk to me about this.
So I love that you put those points together, and I love that you included the budget in there, because people are like, oh yeah, I will invest in this when I can. And I particularly, in the marketing space, they're like, well, we'll get marketing when we get more sales. And it's like, you're not going to get more sales if you don't do marketing. There's only so many times you can ask your friends and family before you need to do marketing and find the right perfect avatar to interact with. So that's super important for everyone to put together their budget. You need a budget for your website, or maybe some marketing materials. There's definitely budget that needs to be allocated when you're putting in your plan. And having a strategy is always really important. Generally, when I do my talks on stage, I show an image of me running my the 3 marathons that I have done. And I show that not because I'm some super athlete, because I never was that girl, but I show it because there's planning and strategy that needs to be put in. And if you want to get across that finish line, and that's applicable in anywhere in life, you have to plan, you have to put in the work, you have to get the coaches, you have to get the resources and get the help to do that. And without that, you're not necessarily going to be as successful at a quick rate. So I showed this because people kind of are like, all right, we're going to get an Instagram account and, 1 month, and we're going to have a ton of sales. And it's really not how it works. I'm sure that it took you some time to build up your community.
Absolutely.
And really. So here, social media is great for increased awareness. So we want people to know about our brand. it takes about 7 to 12 footprints for somebody to see your brand before they purchase. And if you think about it, like the brands that we see in magazines or the ones that we see repetitively over and over, even if, say, for example, it is a BMW. We see the ad on the TV, we see the ad on the magazine, we see 3 of them going down the street, we see this celebrity driving one, something of that nature. There's so many times and so many footprints that we see this car that we build trust, and they've also built their brand trust for years and years. But we as a person have to see this thing 7 to 12 times. So when you're doing your social media, you want to think about, how do I represent my brands and how do I stay top of mind? It's also great for sales lead generation. And I particularly love Instagram myself because that is the platform that has the best reach and ability to grow your followers, because you can interact one-on-one. There's that visual component of it, where Twitter, yes, you can interact one-on-one and there is pictures and videos you can add, but it's a little bit different of a concept. Instagram, you're creating a whole story, and people judge books by their covers. It's just how it works in life. And so like you have the opportunity to like really showcase who you are and what you're about. And the third point, it really is the best platform for that engagement with your community. People find you through hashtags, geotagging, whereas on Facebook, people don't necessarily search hashtags. They don't necessarily search the geotags unless they see somebody posting it and they want to go to that place.
What is geotagging?
So geotagging is when you check in to say, oh, I am here at Harrods, or I'm here at the Empire State Building, something of that nature. And on your post, people can see, oh, where are they? And they can check and they can see the map and they can see the other photos. People on Instagram will search locations and search the photos for research on their own. They don't necessarily do it as much on Facebook. They will click on that to see if somebody they know posted something. They'll be like, oh, let me see where this person is. But on Instagram, people will solely go and do research on a location that way. So if somebody has a brick and mortar, it's a fantastic way to foster use of that too. Then obviously we want to grow our brand's audience and grow our community. The more eyes on us, the better. But we also want to drive our specific audience, our community. So if you are trying to sell women's clothing and there's a bunch of 15-year-old boys following your account, chances are your sales aren't going to really follow, and your increased web traffic may not be as high. They might click just because they like the girls on the photos, but we want people to actually purchase, so we want to, in our plan, see who those people are and cultivate those relationships.
Amazing. It's all about the narrative. Creativity is intelligence, having fun. I love that quote by Albert Einstein.
It's all about the narrative is my slogan. And I love saying it, and it really is about crafting your message. And however you see the world and what you want to put into the world and whatever you're manifesting to yourself, it's all about the stories that we tell and what motivates us, what drives the audience, all of that stuff. So when we're creating our brand narrative, we want to be really clear on what our vision, our mission, and our values are. And then we build the relationship on that. So what are you driving throughout the year? And some of these things can be tweaked. I just redid my core values, my brand values. It's not we redid them. I just added more. I had 5 and then I added 8. And generally people say to do 3 to 5, but I felt like I wanted the 8 because it really described what I clearly have been defining over the last 10 years, and it resonated with me, and I wanted people to know that about my brand. And so some of like your core values can be around what your product does for people. It could be around what you see in the world and incorporate that into your company. And we really want to create this relationship around our core values and what resonates with our audience. Because people want to do business with people that they like, trust, and can relate to. That's kind of how it works. You know, if we see a brand like Starbucks, for example, if you see a coffee shop, brand recognizable Starbucks, but then say we saw, I think you and I, if we saw this really cute coffee shop that had pretty tables and, you know, really nice glassware and, you know, some gold accents, if we had to choose that or the Starbucks, even though we know the Starbucks, it'd be like, oh, they really get us. It's really pretty in there. Like, let's go have coffee there.
Absolutely, I would love it. A little bit like your background. It's so cute, so inviting.
Thanks. So when I talk about this, all about the narrative, it's about sharing our authentic voice and creating the relationships. And that's super important just with social media. You know, we were talking the other day, and I really love Dale Carnegie's book. It's How to Win Friends and Influence People. And it's about relating and connecting. And it had nothing to do with the internet. It hadn't, obviously, because the internet did not exist when he created that book. But it's about building the relationships and creating your story and how you show up and representing that in the world. And so it's kind of interesting that I relate that to digital marketing.
I love that you mentioned Dale Carnegie, and Dale Carnegie was actually the mentor of Napoleon Hill. And Napoleon Hill, for me, is one of the best success mentors ever to have existed. He was in the 1930s. He wrote Think and Grow Rich, which I always say to everyone that it should be the Bible to any business, because it really does stipulate all the various conditionings and principles that you need to do in order to have a successful business. And Dale Carnegie is one of those success mentors. So what is the name of the book again for those that are listening?
How to Win Friends and Influence People. My mother gave it to me in college. I had a soft book copy and I just read it and I was like, this is interesting. And I think especially when you're starting off, there is that level of, it gives you a level of confidence when interacting with people. I don't know about you, but when I was first starting off and when I was a lot younger, I was a little bit nervous because it's like, oh, well, are they going to like me, or should I say this? And then as you get older and you're like, okay, this is who I am and it is what it is. But I think when you have some tools about mindset, it lets all of those limiting beliefs go and you're like, okay, well, this is what I'm supposed to do and it's fine.
Exactly, but that's why what you were saying before is so important. If you can get a coach, if you can get a mentor, you know, or even just on YouTube, you have lots of wonderful virtual mentors like Napoleon Hill, like Dale Carnegie. It's really important to be able to invest in ourselves, because if you invest in yourself, you become extremely valuable. And what you actually do is subconsciously and then consciously increase your value. So confidence issues no longer become so much of an issue, because you know where you stand and you know your worth and you know what you can give to others. So extremely important, and I'm so glad that you touched upon that. Now walk me through these wonderful mood boards, because those that know me know that I have an interior design company called Monaco Interiors, and we do high-end residential for the rich and famous, shall we say, and we also do commercial, so hotels such as Radisson's and Marriott. And mood board for us is extremely important in order to be able to map out what a room or a home or a hotel, restaurant, etc., is going to feel like, is going to look like, what our palette is. And what's interesting from this is that essentially it's the same thing with social media, correct?
Yes. So it is a mood board. I tell my clients this is their brand board, and we use interiors and we use different items because one, we figure out what their colors are. So we really take a look at who their customer demographic is, and then figure out how we're going to represent their brand from aesthetic perspective. And we take a look at different aesthetic lines and colors. And so this company is a gentleman that helps businesses buy and sell. So he sets you up to sell your business. And so there's this feel to it where it's like, okay, if you saw all the branding around this company, you would be like, okay, yes, this person, I can trust this person. It's a man, he focuses more on men selling their companies, a lot in the financial industry as well. And so we take these boards, and there's a lot that goes into it. It's about the emotions and the feelings and the colors and, what we want people to think about the brand. Because you could be so smart and so amazing, but if your brand does not look professional online, people won't do business with you unless they know you from some other source. People judge a business in 0.05 seconds online if they're going to do business with them or not. And just think about it. If you see somebody, that split second, first impression, you have made a judgment. And people may think that that is bad or wrong or whatever. It's just, as human beings, we make judgments about everything. It's how we protect ourselves. It's how we make educated decisions. And so we create these brand boards for our clients so that we can have a cohesive message aesthetically, so that we're targeting the right demographic, and so we're invoking emotion. And each one of these boards have different emotions. So this one is a brand boutique, and it's a 6-month-long program to help people craft their message and showcase themselves in the world. The first one, the teal, was my brand board, and for iMedia exposure. And that board was so this is ours. So some of our core values, like I was sharing before, is ease and grace, creativity, innovation, authenticity, elegance, style, fun, making dreams come true. So we have a bit of this elegance, but a bit of this like quirkiness, and it's feminine too. So a lot of our clients are female. We definitely have male clients too, but kind of the people that we actually go out and engage with are mostly females. So this kind of represents like us and like our message.
I love how much you have nailed the elegance and the luxury, but yet contemporary and modern. So you've actually brought in lots of various different genres into one, which is a lot of different people's tastes into one, right? So you want to be able to appealing to all the different women out there that like lots of different things, but you can marry it all together with how you do your branding. And this is so, so important. When I look at Instagram accounts, for example, and I see that an account knows exactly what their color scheme is, what their quotes and their backgrounds that they use are, I feel that I can instantly trust them so much more quickly than someone who's just posting for the sake of it and doesn't seem to have, any structure within their business. And like you said at the beginning, we've got to be able to build rapport in a very short space of time in order to be able to attract the customers to you. And this is a perfect way to be able to create something very safe and very trusting and very inviting and very appealing. So I love the way that you have used these three different examples so that we can help whoever is watching right now to start, buzzing out some ideas and getting creative and really stopping and thinking to themselves, where am I right now in my business? Bahana, is it too late to be able to incorporate, a mood board theme to your brand via marketing such as social media and Instagram? Like, can people still do it?
Yeah, I work with brands that have been around for 30 years, and they may not have really focused on their aesthetic appeal online. And we just go and create. We'll go and maybe archive some of the posts that weren't serving them, that weren't around, like that doesn't showcase what they want. So we archive things, we add things, and people come up with different aesthetic flows all of the time. And there's some brands that will do the same color scheme throughout the whole thing. I don't particularly do that with iMedia Exposure, just because I like to wear different outfits. And of course we have the same aesthetic, so it would look like the same person. It's not like we're doing like country western and then contemporary.
Right.
It looks like the same person in style, but we just do different backdrops and different things of that nature. So people can start and do their style whenever, and as they move on, archive some of the past things. You don't have to keep it all, but you want to maybe keep some until you have enough of a feed where it looks like you've been doing something for some time.
It's true. And sometimes when I see people put things up like, get ready, coming soon, revamping, there's going to be a surprise in store. And then all of a sudden you come out with this, powerful new scheme and theme. I actually find that really engaging and exciting. So you can actually play around with your transitioning, right? So that it doesn't look awkward to the audience. And in fact, you can make it fun and engaging. So they think, oh, I wonder what's happening. I wonder what surprise they're going to do. And apparently they're going to change their theme. And, us as humans are very nosy and we like to, see what's happening here and there. So really play on that and don't be afraid to, change, because I think a lot of people sometimes become stagnated. And a lot of people also are afraid of change, but you've got to understand that change is good, it's healthy. Obviously, don't be changing your theme constantly. Like, would you recommend that once you kind of have one to sort of keep within that realm?
I would say it's important to have your brand identity to be consistent. You can change certain things, but you want to be consistent with that branding. And then this is really important. So people think, oh, you can do business with anybody. And that's true. However, you want to know who your tribe is. You want to know who your community is and who you're going to be really connecting with. It's just really not going to work if you think you're going to go after everyone and serve the needs of everyone. You'll be spread too thin. So you really want to focus. I generally have people create 5 different personas, and the first 2 are the most perfect ideal clients. And then the other 3 could be, one could be a partner or an affiliate, another one could be like influencer, another one could be like very specific industry that is not your core, but it's something that you like doing.
Absolutely. As a business owner, I really understand what it is that my customer or client wants, right? So if I just use Monaco Interiors once again as an example, our team and myself, the aim of the game is to be able to materialize the dream bedroom, the dream living room, the dream home for our clients. And as we discussed, everyone has different tastes and different styles. So we are constantly having to get to know our individual client, on a regular basis. Like, I've had clients that are really into goth and love black paint and love, dark, moody lighting, thick and luxurious velvets. And then we've got other ones that are really into the kind of French, shabby chic, very like whites and neutrals, and you've got to really be able to adapt. So by being in this industry, I've had to really learn quickly what it is that all these various individual client people are like, want, need. You know, I have to literally dive into their personal life, which is why interior designers end up making a lot of friends with their clients, because by the end of it all, you know everything that's happening, arguments, husband, children, the lot. And obviously, I'm not saying that we have to go to that certain extent, right? But what I am saying is that you have to know who your customer is. What do they like? What do they want? You know, who are they? What do they look like? Really define them and play around with it. Some people and some companies call it creating your own avatar, and they create their avatar, and then from that avatar they do mapping, and they say, well, she's like this and he's like that, and they have 4 kids, or you know, she's 18 and she loves to take selfies and party, and whatever it may be. You've got to really understand who you are selling to. I cannot emphasize it enough, right? Because if you don't know who your audience is, then we're literally running around like headless chickens. And that's not what we want to do. We want to be able to ensure that whatever it is you're selling, whether it be a product or a service, is successful. Because ultimately, we're all here to be successful in what it is that we choose to do. Otherwise, what's the point, right? So walk me through the insights of the customer DNA.
So there's so many different components about what makes somebody themselves. And so you really want to figure out, what do you need to know? What problems do you solve? And who may have those problems? Or what do you provide? What are people's ambitions? All of those things. And think about your company, and then who it services, and then what the details are about those people. So what is their buying potential? You know, you said this person, they have a family and they have 2 kids, and so maybe they will need X, Y, and Z. And maybe they'll need X, Y, and Z at this stage too. You want to see, you know, where they are. So location's important as well. How they interact. Are they on Instagram? Do they do polls? Do they like emails? Do they prefer getting reminders by text that you're having a special event or something, sale or something like this? So we want to think about this whole customer DNA. People call your people avatars, or I use persona, and your customer demographic is specifically very specific people, and you can even name them. So I one of my clients, we named them. One was Ben, one was, I can't even remember all of the names, but it was when we were crafting certain events or certain products, we're like, oh, Ben is gonna love this. There was no Ben on the team, but we're like, Ben is gonna absolutely love this. And so everyone got in their mind that, okay, this product is for Ben. And
That's
how do we
fantastic. I love that. That's genius. Yeah, go on.
and so and I do that too. I don't have my names specific. I have like demographics, but I kind of want to do names for my business too, but my names are going to be like really fun and exotic and really not have any stereotypes with it. But it just helps the team understand and get behind. And if somebody wants to deviate, they're like, oh, well, we should do this too. And it's like, okay, well, that's an awesome idea, but Ben probably wouldn't like that. Maybe his wife, like Melanie, would like that. So we should do this. And they also have a dog. So we're going to market to Melanie and Ben at this event. And since we know the 2 of them together will bring their dog, we should have doggy treats too.
Absolutely. You know, I love how fun you're making it, because at the end of the day, you've got to love what you do, and you've got to really emphasize the creativity and how fun things can actually be. you know, the more you have fun with it, the more you attract abundance of fun and stimulation and great clients and great customers. So really, really let go and actually create, you know, Ben, Melanie, what does Melanie's dog look like? How will you be helping Melanie's dog? I think it's fantastic what you're saying. Really, really well done.
So then we, you know, just like we talked about, we figured out who our segmentation was. We figured out what their values were and how we're going to target them and how we're going to position the product. So say the event has a product launch and we're developing it around dog friendly. So that's a competitive advantage right there because we considered the whole family. Or maybe where they have a dog and kids, so maybe we have a jumpy house for the kids or something of that nature. So we incorporate how we care and take and think about the needs of our clients and what they would be interested in, and then positioning ourselves and figuring out how we can be different than our competitors. You know, the coffee shop that we're discussing next, that's on the same road as the Starbucks, they may not be going after the 50-year-old corporate man that knows Starbucks, but they're like, oh, you know, all of the girl bosses or all of the female entrepreneurs that want to come here and have their meetings because this is a super cute and luxe space, they'll come here. So they're providing a different positioning than a well-known Starbucks, but there is still a need. And I think that even if you we have millions of dollars of backing like a big company like Nike or Starbucks, like how do you position yourself that is different, but that is really targeted to a specific person? And what social media makes it so great, because there's so many people in the world, and you get to go and you can find them and talk to them right on social media where that wasn't a thing before.
Absolutely. I think you've made some real key points, which leads us on very smoothly onto the next one, which really is one of my favorites. And what's my favorite about this is the word consistent. Consistent is such a powerful word in everything that it is that we do. What is consistency? You know, consistency, let's make it really simple and really basic. You want to lose weight, you have to be consistent with your diet. You can't just say, today I'm going to eat salad and tomorrow I'm going to treat myself with a donut. Because unfortunately, that's not being consistent, is it? You know, it's about really plowing yourself through and thinking, right, what is my target weight? How much do I want to lose this week? How much do I want to lose this month? And what are going to be my goals, right? So how am I going to map this out? What meals am I going to have every day? What shopping have I done? Do I have all my fruit and veg? Am I going to prep my meals so that, you know, I don't leave myself all of a sudden stranded and thinking, oh my goodness, I'm so hungry, I'm just going to grab a packet of crisps. So this is really the most simple way that I can describe consistency. But Farhana, talk to us about consistency in the social media marketing and branding world.
So you want to do something every day, like you were saying, with that consistency. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One, it's our business, so we want to go at it and grind consistently every day. Two, social media has algorithms that will have our feed not be as visible if we aren't showing up daily and people aren't engaging with us daily. You want to really create your content marketing workflow so that it's easy to create and have consistent content. And we discuss the target audience. So we really want to be creating content that's going to resonate with them, that they're going to want to engage with, they're going to find interesting. And it doesn't always have to be about selling our products and services. I think that I like to use an 80-20% rule. So 80% really great content and 20% sales. Of course, we want to have people do calls to action and do stuff to purchase from us and be a part of our brand. But when you target your audience very specifically, you think about what they like and what they would be interested in, and it's not always just buying. Also, figuring out what ideas and keywords and hashtags that they are going to be interested in, and then doing research as well, where you are seeing what potential hashtags you could be using. Is there special holidays? You know, there's all these quirky holidays like National Hot Fudge Sundae Day or International Friendship Day. There's so many of these different quirky holidays that you can use these hashtags and reach a greater audience. You also want to do engagement and outreach. So a lot of people think of engagement as that, oh, I asked a question on my post and that's it. And that's somewhat engagement, but it's not really the outreach engagement that really grows your brand. And outreach is going and finding people and building those relationships, saying hello, commenting, and starting a dialogue. I think Twitter, when that first started, that was kind of one of those things where you have to do outreach. You can't just sit there in your own Twitter bubble. It really is about going out and having conversations, especially before when it was like even the shorter amount of characters. Now it's a little bit more that you can write on there, but when Twitter first started off, the amount of characters that you could use was so short that you needed to consistently chat back and forth. Right. To even have like an imprint. And you want to create really great quality content too. So things can come from your phone, things can come from like your audio recordings on your computer. But you want to make sure that the content looks like it's on brand and that it's quality and that you took time to curate it. Because people do care about aesthetics. It's just the way humans are designed. So if you want people to really do business, resonate, follow, you have to think about that. I think some people are like, oh, we're just going to post anything. And I don't even know if that is helpful. I think it might even be more detrimental than it is helpful when it looks like a hot mess, because nobody wants to look at a brand and be like, oh, that's a mess. Let me go do business with them. It's just not really how it works. I have a restaurant client, and they've been around for a while, and they're a local restaurant. They have a cute little bar scene. And when we started doing their digital marketing, their traffic increased their sales increased by 3 times. And people were commenting on the social media. Yes, they had their normal flow, but they were starting to reach and engage with more people because their social media actually looked like a brand. And it wasn't just like these really terribly quality flyers that they would post for like, this is our special, and it looks like, you know, it came straight out of like 1995, which didn't resonate with anybody in, 2020. So also another thing is to have links. In Instagram, you can't link from a post, but you can have people link back to links on your bio. All the other social media platforms, you want to have links so that you have people taking action, going to your website, purchasing, signing up for things, so you're building your email list as well.
You do have on Instagram, I think it's after 10,000 followers, you have the swipe up where you can have the link on there, which I find so very useful, because especially with Self-Made Girl Boss, we share stories from women all over the world, and we post them on our website, and then what we do is we take a screenshot of the article, and then we'll be like, read more, swipe up, and then you can connect the link of the site of where the article is on, and then it's fantastic for people to be, looking at your Insta stories, come across the article, see a little taster and be like, oh, I want to read more, and then swipe up. But obviously I know that this happens after 10,000 followers.
Yeah. There are some kinds of workarounds for that as well. But yeah, the links in the bio for people that don't have those features, that's helpful. This is another side about having your content calendar. So what we do with our clients is we create a content calendar, and every single day there is a subject matter that we're going to discuss. So we put holidays, product launches, we put blog posts, newsletters, we put everything that we're going to create out ahead of time, and then we go and do the photo shoots and curate the content that is going to be aligned with the subject and the flow. And then we use different tools to organize the flow in a color pattern. And we don't stay in one. There's lots of bloggers that do a beautiful job with like having the same color flow, the same filters. We don't necessarily do that. I like to do a very varied flow, and so we'll move into different color zones. And then we also like to showcase our clients as well, and not all of them are going to have the same colors as us. And so we will do 9 grids. So if you see this picture, kind of the top photo on all the way in the bottom 3 are a little bit lighter.
Right.
But then it flows, it's the same kind of color tones, and it flows into more of the pink, and the light blue turns into more of like this mintish green. And then it gets into a darker green, but it's still that same flow. And so we kind of transition our photos that way. And then we have the ones in the back where they have different kind of backgrounds. Obviously the colors are similar, but we kind of flowed into the different 9 blocks per se. I like to do 9 blocks in one exact story flow, and then blend the images through. So that's one way to transition. Some people will just do like a hard transition where it'll be like, okay, we did this as this one story featuring this one client, and then now we're going to do hard stop, and we did black and white, hard stop, now it's going to be, red and gold, and showcasing different things. So there is different techniques to doing your visuals, but it's really important to have your content calendar created with your newsletter, your blog post, the topics that you're going to discuss, the holidays you're going to talk about, and that's kind of just part of a plan in general. It has you and your whole team stay on track. I think people spend more time when they don't have it planned out using social media. It's like, oh, well, what am I going to post today? Oh, I have to find this post. I have to find a picture, blah, blah, blah. But if you do it all ahead of time and it's all scheduled out. I had somebody ask me the other day, this guy, he's like, so what do you just, he follows me on LinkedIn. What do you just post on LinkedIn all day? That's all you do all day long? I'm like, well, you must just follow me on LinkedIn and read my stuff all day long. But, it's all scheduled out. I don't have time to sit there, and no entrepreneur has time to sit there every single day and just post and just be doing your social media. There's other things that you have to do. You have to manage your clients. You have to manage every other area of your business. So doing this it takes such a weight off of people. And when we create the content calendars, we have clients where we'll just do their marketing plan and do their content calendar. And even just that, of them having a scheduled, well thought out, scheduled plan that is curated for their business as well as what's going on in the world. When they have that done and customized to themselves, they're like, oh, that was such a weight off their shoulders. And then we also have the clients that we're doing all of it for them. We're, doing their photo shoots, doing their graphics, putting it all together. So there are the different elements, but everyone, when you get a workout plan, like somebody's like, this is what you're going to do Monday and Tuesday. It's like, okay, great. I don't have to think about it. I'm just going to do it. And so that stress and the procrastination goes away, because somebody's like, this is what you're eating today. This is what you're going to do for your workout today. And you're like, okay, I could do this.
Exactly. Planning, organization really is key in order to be able to really understand where you're going and to help you. Otherwise, we ourselves become so absorbed in our own emotions of anxiety that we start to think to ourselves, this is too much. I don't even know where to start. And then what happens is that it turns you into procrastinating, and then eventually you don't know what you're doing, and you probably lose enthusiasm and passion and end up stopping. So you really got to keep organized in business. It really is so essential. So tell me about sales and marketing funnel.
So this is a super important part. And I think a lot of people fail to really take into account that this is going to be what drives your business to have sales. You can have, so the awareness portion is that online storytelling, creating that narrative. There's where you're going to engage with people, have your online ads, those kinds of things, all that great content. That's that awareness portion. Then you want to drive people to take action because they can follow you as much as they want. Like I know people that have tons of followers on Instagram and I'm like, so are you making any money? And they're like, no. And I'm like, why not? Can we make you money? Because I can do this and it'll be easy because you already have all these people there. And so there's one thing to have followers and there's one thing to actually make money and have the right followers that are going to be the right kinds of clients. So there's those two things. And so it's not all that important if it's just because of the client, just because of the followers. So we want to have the right types of clients there. So we want to have opt-ins. So what are the opt-ins that we're going to have like for our business? Are we going to do how-to? So the blog, you said the swipe up feature. You're having people now swipe up and go to your page. So that's helping with your SEO and your website being optimized is a great tool to take on two uses of your followers. Then you have all of these trainings and these interviews. And so that is more content for people to opt in and go to your pages because they want these lead magnets that you're creating because you're providing all of this awesome events and quality content that people are going to want. And then they get these freebies. What is the sales offer? So we do a lot of freebies. We have a social media style guide. So if you follow us at iMedia Exposure on Instagram, you will automatically get our free social media style guide download. And it's a really great tool to help you do everything that we just discussed in here. It's our cheat sheet, our workbook. And so that is our lead magnet. It's super helpful. We use it with all of our clients, but we also offer it as a freebie because we know that it makes a difference and we want to be a contribution to others, and then provide something of value that is going to get people into our sales and marketing funnel. And so then now people come to our page and they can learn about our events and our free trainings and our product offerings and things like that. And we provide them with an offer to buy from us. After that, we want people to be loyal. We want to have affiliates and partners and have people in our email list. So that's kind of a portion of what you want to craft out. If somebody comes to your page and you never talk to them ever again, they kind of disappear in the abyss. They may come back, they might like something, but if you keep them engaged and have them in your email list and providing them with value on a reoccurring basis, then they will more likely refer business to you, buy more from you in the past. And then the contest portion, like what are you doing? We do a lot of influencer contests where it's like, okay, do X, Y, and Z and you win this. And we all see influencers doing all of that. And that's because it will make things go viral. It will have more people sharing. It boosts different brands. So there's so many different levels. And so when you're creating your plan, I like people to kind of use a format like this. You want to know who your customer is, who your competitors are, what your sales and marketing funnel is, how you're driving people through that funnel, creating your content calendars, what your engagement strategy is, what are your different digital strategies to optimize each one of the social media platforms you're on, and what kind of content you're creating. So there is so much doing. There's so much to do, and there's a lot. And I have a team. I have a full team, and I wouldn't be able to do it all alone. And it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to get a coach, and it's okay to, move your business along so that you're not sitting there spinning your wheels and getting overwhelmed and overworked. I really love working with people that are passionate what they do. And I offer complimentary consults. So you can connect with me on social media at iMedia Exposure. You can go over to my website. You can grab my social media style guide on Instagram. you can go to my website and set up a complimentary 20-minute consult. I really love helping people achieve their dreams and putting this all into perspective and creating their plan. If you don't have a plan, you will fail to succeed and move through the process. And I think that's super important. And it's okay to ask for help. I have coaches, I partner with people, because without that, I would not have gotten as far as I have in the time period that I have. And it's so much better to just get out there and go after your dreams rather than just sitting there being like, one day, someday.
Thank you so much for such an incredible masterclass. Honestly, the tips that you have provided us with have been ever so informative and helpful, even for myself, because we never stop learning. And whoever says that they have is going to be a bit of a silly billy, because we are learning all the time. It doesn't matter how old you are or what industry you're in. And it was so refreshing to have heard from an expert like yourself on really cool tips in order to be able to incorporate in your business. So I really want to thank you so much. I'm going to put a link up to your website and Instagram so that anyone that is watching this can just click on and connect with you and see where it goes.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me on. I hope that this was super helpful for anybody watching, and be sure to connect, even if it's just to say hello.
Amazing. Thank you so much, my darling. Thank you for everything.
Bye.